Evening, gentlemen. How are you?
I
Doing good.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at Jack and Hat. It is another one of the Josh, how do you say it?
Ratatouille games.
Not Ratatouille. All right, so this is a very basic retro graphic style 2D platformer. The story, which I have cut the majority of it out here from the beginning, but you can see how it's presented, is that this sinister man appears and takes over the city. The city of Riri Land? I don't know where they come up with this stuff. And the big plan here is that they need to gather these crystals to power a device that the doctor can use to save the day. But they don't know who they're going to get to collect these crystals. So he remembers that he once hired a repairman to do some work around the place. And he's like, we can call him. He'll save the day.
Yeah. That makes sense. Repairmen are good at killing things.
And collecting crystals across the planet. So there is a basic level select here, which is in the lab. You get portals that take you through. You're going to see, all right, you collect these little orby things, get so many of them, get a free man, break blocks, things like that. What do you guys think of the initial graphical presentation here?
It's all right, I guess.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of obviously the old school era of Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, right? It's colorful. The backgrounds look all right. The character itself looks a little bit janky, but it looks all right.
Well, keep in mind this is like a $5-6 game. You know, these are the indie games that we often see for this. I think that the color selection is absolutely to its benefit because it is very bold and vibrant. So kind of what's a little bit lacking in technical capabilities is made up for in creativity. Now you do have two forms of attack here. You can throw your hat, which is obviously if you want to attack forward, and as long as an enemy doesn't have a spike on their head, you can jump on their heads as well. You get the very colorful heart icon above the head when you to show their HP.
Yeah, I kind of find the background is more distracting than the foreground because of the way it moves.
I think it was a common thing that we saw in this era of games where sometimes the background would do that kind of stuff.
Well, I think they're trying
I get
to
what you're saying.
I think they're trying to do that panning, they pan at different speeds in order to give a very rudimentary attempt at depth.
Yeah, it looks like the background is actually far away.
Now, one thing you can't see in the video is how the controls are. And initially, the jumping is a little bit slippery, but by no means terrible compared to other things we've seen. And beyond that, it's pretty precise. So obviously, that's an important part of platformers.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty decent. It looks like it controls well enough, I guess.
Not like you're missing a bunch of jumps or anything like that. Not that you normally would, but, definitely I've seen you play some games where the controls have been super slippery, and you're like, yeah, that's why I missed those jumps.
Well, this recording is not my first attempt playing the game, and there were a few deaths while I was just kind of, getting a feel, gauging. That one I just thought maybe with the slope that there would be a secret there, and there was not. There was a few deaths where I was just kind of assimilating to its particular physics, but honestly, it didn't take more than a few minutes to get used to it.
I do like the enemies so far. Is there a lot of variation in the enemies in later levels?
I mean, most of the graphics for enemies are pretty rudimentary, as you can see, but there's enough. You do start going to different zones that have different biome looks and stuff like that, so there's enough variety. I'm not going to say that it's a huge amount, but enough. The enemies can trigger the explosives as well.
It's kind of neat. Are there any like big interactions with enemies? Like, you know, like you could throw turtle shells or whatever?
Not direct interaction, no. Like your attacks for throwing your hat and jumping on them is essentially what you can do. Like you won't be able to pick up one or anything like that. There are some boss fights though. They're pretty basic pattern recognition, but they do at least vary it up a little bit.
Cool.
Now, one thing that is also a little bit unique in here that is harder to see in the video is that the hat can also retrieve items for you. So it becomes a little bit more prominent later in the game, but you can use it to collect or trigger switches from a distance when you're going through the levels.
Is there anything like sliding, running, double jump, or like boost jumps or whatever? Sprint jumps?
Not really. No.
Okay.
That comes
definitely.
Game number 2.
It definitely seems more rudimentary than a lot of NES games. So
yeah, I mean there are things like you'll get to the point where there's moving platforms, as you can see right here. It's just the actual characters' abilities are pretty set, and you just have to learn to use them with the environment that you have presented towards you. Right? Like, oh, there's a spring. That'll get mixed in with things like moving platforms and so forth. You do have like the potion, which you can see at the top, to get some health back, things like that. But it's pretty basic. There isn't going to be too much outside of what we've already seen here. So, based on what you've seen, would you continue after the first opinion?
I don't think I would. I don't think there's too much here that looks all that interesting that I wouldn't have gotten like 30 years ago, right?
Well, maybe you're looking for that nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would agree. I think it's just not going to be something that really appeals to me at this time.
Well, Josh, I will let you know it's a very easy platinum trophy.
Now I got to play it.
Honestly, I'm with you guys in that I would say it's a no from me as well. I did play it enough to get the platinum trophy after what I felt was enough research to actually do the video. But that was a very minimal amount that was required to get that platinum trophy. And then once that was done, I turned it off. That being said, I don't think it's an offensive game. And I'm not exactly sure on the price conversion, but it's like $6 Canadian, right? Like you could do worse, right? It's not too bad of a game. And with the controls being okay, if you're looking for something to just kind of get a little bit of a younger gamer into, it will do the trick. It's not going to be like a, memorable experience for years to come, but it'll pass the time a little bit. So that's Jack and Hat, and I guess we're in unanimous decision that it is 3 do not continues.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.